a champion of character.
I am a champion of character.
I am a champion of character.
I am a champion of character.
It's been an incredible week of women's lacrosse here in West Michigan at the NAIA Women's Lacrosse National Invitational Tournament. We've had a lot of highlight reel goals, a couple of close games, but a couple one-sided affairs as well. We had 8 teams show up here to Grand Rapids. Only 2 remain, and it looked like to be a tight battle here for the National Invitational crown between the #1 team in the country against the #2 and undefeated squad taking place here in West Michigan. It is going to be an exciting matchup indeed here for the championship. We are live here at Grand Rapids, Michigan on the campus of Aquinas College as we get set for the #1 SCAD Savannah Bees taking on the #2 Benedictine Ravens. I'm Tyler Keel here, joined side now by my broadcast partner, Chris Fosters. Chris, the 2-time defending national champ SCAD Savannah taking on Benedictine in their first title game. What do you expect to hear out of this matchup here today?
Well, I think this is absolutely what you want to see in a championship. You want to know that the best team is going to come out of these invitational tournaments victorious, and in a battle of 1 versus 2, I think we're definitely going to get that. It'll be interesting to see how the weather plays a role in things today. Some slick field turf, we're thinking, because it's been raining here for the better part of the late afternoon and into the evening now. So we'll see.
Yeah, the weather may not be the greatest. However, we have a couple players that are going to try to fight through this weather, including Natalie Wechter from Benedictine.
Well, Natalie Wechter has had an outstanding invitational tournament, and you'll notice that she's one of the tallest, if not the tallest player on the field. She's 5'9". She's from Royersford, Missouri, and believe it or not, she's a freshman. She doesn't play like it, however. Can SCAD get some bodies on her? That's going to be very important to neutralize her today.
Yeah, she has had an incredible tournament. Like we said, 7 points yesterday. Now looking at SCAD Savannah Bees, they have a very deep roster, including one of the better talents and an incredible game yesterday for Sydney Canigo.
Well, and if this is your first game watching us this tournament, get a look at this highlight reel of Sydney Canigo. She scores in so many different ways and with such a wide variety of shots. That's what impresses me most about her. She goes high, she goes low, she can play the bounce. She's having a fantastic season, a fantastic career. She's a 5'2" junior from Potomac Falls, Virginia.
Yeah, she has been an incredible piece. Like I said, a very deep offense for the SCAD Savannah Bees. It is going to be an exciting matchup here today. Weather may look gloomy, but someone will shine here for the National Invitational Tournament crown between SCAD Savannah and Benedictine. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, keys to the game and face-off between the Bees and the Ravens right here on the NAIA Network. We are back here at Aquinas College for the National Invitational Championship game between the SCAD Savannah Bees, the #1 team and back-to-back defending national tournament champions, against Benedictine Ravens, the #2 team. Here with Chris Foster. And Chris, despite the Ravens being the #2 team and undefeated, they are definitely be pinned as the underdog. What do the Ravens need to do today to hopefully get the win here?
Well, looking at the keys to the game for Benedictine, penalties in some cases have been a problem for the Ravens, so they need to watch the physical play. They committed 11 yellow cards or received 11 yellow cards against the University of the Cumberlands in the semifinal, and when you're taking on the #1 team in the country, don't give them a leg up, especially when they don't need one. Benedictine also needs some signs of a supporting cast. We mentioned Natalie Wechter. Aiden and Mary McInerney are outstanding options as well for Benedictine. But who else is going to give the Ravens some scoring support? And Taryn St. Louis has been outstanding in goal all season, and in particular in this tournament for Benedictine. She's got her hands full today against SCAD. Can she keep this a low-scoring game? We'll find out.
Yeah, she had a little bit of a slow game on that quarterfinal, but yesterday against Cumberland's, when they were coming on late, she was big. But, of course, the SCAD Savannah Bees, they are confident. They are looking to make it a three-peat, similar to how Reinhardt did in the men's final. What are they going to have to do here to lock up that third straight national championship?
Well, we showed you some highlights from Benedictine's Natalie Wechter a little bit earlier, and that relates to what SCAD needs to do today. They have to clog the front of the net and prevent Wechter from getting some room to work. And along those lines, they also need to stop Claire Ryan from having space to pass either to Wechter in front of the goal or for Claire Ryan to maneuver behind the goal. She's a very skilled playmaker at the X position. And we've talked about this already. It's deja vu all over again for SCAD Savannah. They've won 2 straight national championships. Can they make it a third? Dynasties are perhaps the hardest thing to attain in sports. It's one thing to be great. It's another thing to be great consistently and to be repetitively great, and that's the challenge for SCAD today.
Well, like we said, we saw Reinhardt do it earlier today. Can SCAD do it here? It is going to be a big one. We can quick run down the starters for you. First, for the SCAD Savannah Bees, up front they're going to have Drew DeGallo, who has 9 points this tournament. Alongside her will be Allison Theory, and number 33, the freshman, Mackenzie DeMott. Playing midfield will be Tatum Crouch, alongside Sydney Canego. We talked about her. She has 15 points, which leads the team here in this tournament. Alongside her, Jordan Mitchell, one of the top scorers, 8th best scorer in the NAIA. And number 21, Harper Barth, playing midfield. On to the defensive end, All-American Olivia Stahl, alongside Katie Rowell, number 17, Emma Devereaux, and number 28, Morgan Willett. And in goal, Maggie Lortz, the senior, 14 games played this season, 10-1-9 goals against average, and a 4.42 save percentage. For the Ravens, up front, we talked about her just a second ago, Claire Ryan, alongside Emily Ruland and Mary McInerney. Playing midfield, they're going to have Casey Moore, Aiden McInerney, number 16, Molly Muhlenbach, Natalie Wechter to round out the midfield. On the back end, they're going to have Rihanna England, number 8, Erin Robber, number 19, Megan Ostrander, number 26, Riley Eder. And in goal, like we said before, Taryn St. Louis. This will be her 15th start this season. 5.06 goals against average and a 4.56 save percentage. Chris, that is 9th in the NAIA, and that is the reason why Benedictine's here, and that's why they've been able to be undefeated with the play from their goaltender. So it's going to start with St. Louis and make their way out with the rest of the lineup.
It's been a really impressive season for Benedictine. Undefeated so far, both in the regular season and in postseason play. That includes a conference tournament championship win as well in the Kansas Collegiate Athletic Conference.
St. Louis comes down to our left wearing the black with the red numbers. SCAD, who's been in their whites all tournament long, down to our right was Maggie Lortz, gets set in the crease. Hasn't played a complete game yet, as they like to kind of rotate the goaltenders in and out here to get everyone some playing time here, as both Tracy Richards and Liv Vieira have been able to get in. We are all set at center. Wechter and Mitchell on the draw for their respective teams as we get set here for this National Invitational Tournament Championship. The whistle blows and we are underway right here at Aquinas Field, and the first one goes to Canego of the Bees. Dropped on over for Mitchell. She mishandles it, but she gets it down in the corner. That is Barth. Harper Barth, the midfielder, wrapping behind the goal. Looking out in front, had Theory, but she gives it back for Canego. Canego trying to make a move to the outside, getting pressured though by Casey Moore. Dodged up Diffendigen, but she gives it up for Mitchell now. Mitchell looking in front, nobody there, all sorts of black and white sweaters, but here's Barth with a shot. That gets taken away and knocked away. And it's picked up now and brought the other way now by the Ravens. That is Mary McInerney. Weaving her way on through. Wearing the gloves today. Obviously not fair weather. It's been pretty good weather here for the women's lacrosse tournament thus far. It may have been overcast on Thursday, but at least it was warm and a little muggy. Yesterday, clear skies and sunshine. First time they've had to deal with rain and a little unfair conditions here, but obviously two teams got to play in this one. We'll see how it goes. McInerney in the corner with it, as Benedictine sets up their first offensive possession. That gets moved up. That is Aiden McInerney. Drops it off, trying to get it from Muhlenbach, but that misses. And now it's brought back by the Bees. Tatum Crouch across midfield with speed. We're just a minute 20 here into this contest. We're glad you can join us here on the NAIA Network. Tyler Kuehl alongside Chris Foster. Bees trying to get a chance here early. Barth drops it. Crouch trying to pick it up. Goes high in the air. Barth holds it. Goes behind looking for DeGallo trying to set up the offense. However, that one misfires and goes over the end line. Not a lot of clean passing thus far right now, Chris, but do you think the weather may have something to do with that?
I'm not so sure. It's not very windy, interestingly enough. I think both teams are probably just settling in here. Benedictine had a really good defensive stand on SCAD Savannah's first offensive possession of the game. But SCAD Savannah, on its next time down, caught Benedictine in a little bit of transition, and were it not for a bad pass, SCAD Savannah would have had a good shot on goal.
Here's Aiden McInerney with the shot, but she's fouled on the play. So first free possession opportunity going to the Ravens after a good rush by Aiden McInerney. Aiden, the freshman midfielder. A little on the far side of the field to the right of Maggie Lortz. We're just past the 2-minute mark here. Here's Aiden McInerney breaking her way on through. Wants to shoot, but Jordan Mitchell gets in there. And they're going to call a foul on Mitchell, who got a stick in there on Aiden McInerney. So another free possession opportunity coming up here.
And Aiden McInerney is just a freshman. She's had an outstanding tournament, but a missed shot there and a poor pass on an earlier offensive possession for Benedictine. How's she feeling as just a freshman?
Well, that one not feeling too good as that shot gets deflected wide. However, Rulin picks it up. She brings it to the side of the goal for Benedictine. They'll stay on the offensive. Mary McInerney in front, getting it for Ryan, but she's knocked down. Rowell at the foul comes over, makes sure that Claire Ryan's okay.
And that was just a beautiful pass to Claire Ryan right in front. Maybe a good foul, actually, by SCAD, because Ryan would have had a close-range one-on-one opportunity.
Well, here's Ryan now. She's right down the middle. A great angle for her. Can Lortz make the big save here? Ref takes a step back. Ryan moves her way on and wants to shoot, but it gets deflected again. I think that was Olivia Stahl that got a stick in on that one. However, Benedictine stays on the attack as here's Wechter with it. Back up for Aiden McInerney. Looking over her options here. Fresh shot clock pass. They're almost taken away by Mitchell. Allows Wechter a little room to drive the way. She gets a couple of sticks and a shot, and that's first save of the game by Maggie Lortz, and it's a beauty. Foul called against Benedictine on the back check. So 0 for 2 are the Ravens with free possession shots. However, we're still scoreless as here's Olivia Stahl, the All-American defender for the Bees, brings it across midfield. Mary McInerney chasing her down. Pass for Theory misses. Trying to pick it up is DeMott. She can't do so. Now she does. However, it gets knocked out of bounds by Lacey Moore of Benedictine, so possession staying with the Bees. Just over 3 minutes in here to this first half. National Invitational Championship on the line between the number 1, number 2 teams in the country. Tatum Crouch trying to weave her way on through. Looked to give that one for Theory, but turned her back at the last second. That allows Benedictine to pick it up, and it gets brought up now as here's Erin Robert looking across midfield. Drops it off for Aiden McInerney with speed, shoulder to shoulder with Devereaux. Shrugs her off, gets her way on through, tries to dive on through, but a good job by Willett. However, flag goes up, and it'll be another free possession opportunity here for Aiden McInerney.
And that's what you see McInerney capable of doing on the offensive end. She puts a lot of pressure on a defense with her maneuverability.
Ravens didn't have a lot of free possession opportunities yesterday, but here's Aiden McInerney, tries to shoot this time, but Lortz gets the stick down to make the save. Lortz, one of the top goaltenders in the country for the Bees. Showing her stuff here wide. A lot of room here, looking over options. However, all the defenders and midfielders are well covered. However, she finds Tatum Crouch in stride. Crouch turns back away from Muhlenbach, dumps it off for Devereaux, who's getting chased. Casey Moore applying the pressure, but Devereaux's able to keep it in and give it deep into Benedictine territory for Allison Theory. Theory moves it up top and tosses it across for Jordan Mitchell. Mitchell looking out in front, finds Barth, catches it, but elects not to shoot as she was well covered by Robert. Behind the goal for DeMott. DeMott strutting towards the side of the crease, dumps off for Barth. However, Barth's cross-checked hard. That's going to be a free possession, and Robert comes over and apologizes for the foul.
And you can see Harper Barth at 5'10", the impact she can have close to the net simply by being able to haul in high passes.
Pardon me, that was actually number 3, Rihanna England with the foul. Here's Barth coming in, wants to shoot, but a great play there by Natalie Wechter, getting a stick in there. And Chris, that's the size advantage with the reach that Wechter has, able to get the stick in there and knock it away from the almost the same height as Barth.
Yeah, maybe the one player who can neutralize the height of Harper Barth there. Thought Harper had a look, but just didn't pull the trigger until it was too late. There was a black jersey on her.
Here's Barth trying to make her way on through again. Rihanna England covering her, but she dumps it behind the goal for Mitchell. Has Kanigo in front, tries to get it there, but there's Wechter with the steal.
Been really impressed early with how Benedictine has covered Kanigo. They have not given her any room, either far away or close to the net.
Here's Aaron Robert bringing it in. Devereaux trying to cut her off. Ball gets knocked out of the stick of Robert. Devereaux trying to pick it up. Coming over is Casey Moore. Devereaux scoops it up. Can't control it, though. Now she gets a handle on it. Toss it across midfield with 4 Ravens surrounding her. Gets it for DeGallo. She makes a nice move. Gives it for Barth. Barth trying to streak on in. Good back check there by Muhlenbach, but Barth cuts in, shoots, and a good save there by St. Louis. Able to get the stick down there. A good drive by Barth, but once again, as we've seen all tournament long, the Benedictine netminders up to the task. However, her clearing attempt goes awry, and it's picked up now by Tatum Crouch. Crouch weaves her way past the Benedictine midfield, moves her way towards the goal, dumps one off for DeGallo, looks to shoot, and another good save by St. Louis. DeGallo quickly back on it. SCAD now with the pressure. Theory in the front, shoots! Stopped by St. Louis. However, Theory draws the foul, and another free possession coming up here for the Bees.
As she was bumped just before she made the shot attempt. But so far, an awfully good start for both goaltenders, in particular Taryn St. Louis, who's going to be under pressure all evening. We know that with this SCAD Savannah offense.
Just past the 6-minute mark here of the first half. Theory right down Broadway, shoots, and another good save by St. Louis. Against Cumberland's yesterday, the Patriots went 3 for 8 with free possession shots. St. Louis trying to pick up that loose ball from Mitchell and be able to. And the reason why, Chris, as we can see now, St. Louis really good on those one-on-one shots.
And Benedictine is sitting on that pass back from the X position, very aware of what SCAD Savannah has tried to do offensively early in this game.
There's a long pass. Good clear as Emily Ruhlin brings it out. Being pressured by Willis, so she dumps it off for Mary McInerney. Has issues with it. Foul call, though, against Willett. As McInerney went to pick up the ball, was fouled on the play. So possession will stay with the Ravens. Scoreless here in the first half, just 7 minutes in. Look out, though. Mitchell tried to pick that pass off from Mary McInerney, but it's picked up as Muhlenbach tries to drive towards the goal. She gets sorted out to the outside and will go behind the SCAD goal. Flip-flops with Claire Ryan. Now pressured by Olivia Stahl. Stahl, who's been dominant all tournament long for the Bees. You can see why she's an All-American defenseman, as she has neutralized any of the opposition's best attack. Here's Casey Moore now, meeting with Jordan Mitchell at the side of the goal. Drives her through, but a good save by Lortz. And picking that one up cleanly on the rebound is Olivia Stahl. Stahl with speed across midfield and brings it deep into territory. And that's why Olivia Stahl is one of the best, Chris, is she has the ability to not just create turnovers, but get the ball quickly down in the offensive end.
And Kanago was cutting on that play, and she had a step on Natalie Wechter, but ultimately was too far away from Olivia Stahl to make a connection.
Sometimes the smartest play is to kind of hold on and set up the offense, especially the way this Bees offense has been all tournament long. However, so far in the first 8 minutes, held off scoreless. A close chance there as Kanigo wanted to have a great opportunity, but once again, Natalie Wechter, and that looks like we're going to be the matchup we're going to be seeing here is Kanigo and how good she's been against Natalie Wechter, who has been offensively good for the Ravens, but showing her defensive ability here as well.
And can Wechter keep up with Kanago's speed? That will be something that I'll be interested to watch.
Katie Rowell can't hold up Aiden McInerney. She gets bumped off, though, by Stahl. Crouch right behind her and takes the ball right out of her stick. Good steal there by the freshman midfielder, Aiden McInerney, fouling Crouch on the play. And there's a whistle blown on the two McInerneys. And the warning's been given to the bench on the 2-meter non-engagement. And everything from here on will be a green card. And this is where, Chris, we kind of talked about off the hop. Benedictine's got to be careful with these penalties because they can't allow SCAD any opportunities to go man up right now.
Well, the Ravens, Tyler, I have been impressed at how they've played this game so far. They're not intimidated by SCAD Savannah as the two-time defending national champions. They've played this game pretty cool through the first 9 minutes.
And now Aiden McInerney trying to bring it on. Devereaux right on top of her. Devereaux takes a swing and foul called against Devereaux. And Aiden McInerney trying to bring it on through. But now the 2-meter non-engagement warning given to the Bees now. So now both teams at risk of getting a rather green card for an engagement after a foul. So now Benedictine will go to work. Here's Claire Ryan in front looking for a straight and Mary McInerney, but that pass misfires.
It was there just a little bit high.
Yeah, Mary McInerney, not as tall as Natalie Wechter. If that had been Wechter, it may have been a different story. Here's DeGallo trying to bring it across midfield. Gets a little bit of a stick check by Moore, but fights on through. Here's DeCaro, checks in the game. Quickly for Theory. Theory wants to shoot. Goes to the side of the goal for Malia. Quickly for DeCaro. Shoots. And a good save by St. Louis once again. A plethora of point-blank chances for the Bees have been thwarted by the Benedictine goaltender. But the SCAD Bees stay on the attack. Canego gets the ball knocked out of her stick by Wechter, but she's able to corral it. As you can just see Wechter following Canego around in the defensive end, but that allows Mitchell room to get on through, and she's fouled on her way on towards the goal. So a free possession now coming up here for Mitchell and the Bees.
SCAD Savannah, Tyler, is an awful lot of fun to watch in transition, and Benedictine has just been able to get back in time, but you get the sense that the more transition look SCAD Savannah gets, the harder it is going to be to keep them out of the net.
Yeah, their speed has been what has been their bread and butter all season long. Here's Mitchell, decides to dump it off for DeGallo, shoots, but is fouled. Will they count it? Yes, they will. Drew DeGallo on a nice play by Mitchell on the free possession, and the Bees jump out in front.
Bees goal by number 4, Drew DeGallo.
And fittingly, Tyler, it's a senior who gets the scoring going for SCAD Savannah. Drew DeGallo knows exactly what it's like being in a situation like this. And after the beautiful dish off the free position entry pass, she knocks it past Terrence St. Louis. And so how does Benedictine handle this now after St. Louis was looking almost impenetrable through the first 10 minutes of the game? Is it going to affect her? How's it going to affect their defense?
And I mean, the reason why I think Mitchell goes for that shot, Chris, is of course the last 3 opportunities being thwarted off by St. Louis, and not just her, but of course the defense around her for Benedictine. That's why Mitchell decided to find DeGallo, who was wide open because of all the oncoming defenders. But now Benedictine will try to flip the script. That goal coming at the 10-20 mark of the first half. Bees now with the 1-0 lead. They only trailed ever so briefly in their quarterfinal matchup after Lawrence Tech went up 1-0 on them. However, the Bees were able to make their way quickly through the Blue Devils following that. But now here's the Ravens trying to tie it on up. Claire Ryan for Aiden McInerney. Looking in front for Wechter. She's well covered by Canego, as those two will be following each other on both ends of the field throughout this contest. Casey Moore trying to dive her way by DeCaro. She gets thwarted back, so Mary McInerney will take it now. Looking in front, finds Ryan Wan to shoot. Couldn't get a clean lane through. Good coverage there by Emma Devereaux. It gives it back for Wechter now, and she looks over options, the leading scorer for the Ravens. Trying to find an opening here in the SCAD defense, which has been very good throughout this tournament. Claire Ryan at the side of the goal now being looked at by Devereaux once again. A very tight man-to-man coverage here for both teams. Not a lot of cycling on the front end nor the back end from both sides, which has been the key to their success defensively for both of these teams. Don't forget the Bees do have 1 loss on the record. However, that was against an NCAA D2 opponent as Wechter comes through with a shot, and Maggie Lort stops this leading scorer point blank. Now Devereaux bringing it across with speed. Hustling and bustling next to her is Claire Ryan. But Devereaux gets in for DeGallo. Has Theory streaking. She cuts back, is fouled on the play, as that was England once again causing the foul after a great save by Lortz on one end. Good speed there by Devereaux. As we see the back end for the Bees helping out the offense. Here's Theory on the free possession. Wants to shoot. She does, but she fires it wide.
I'm surprised that SCAD didn't bring in a possible passing outlet there for Allison Theory, because that's what worked on the previous free possession play by SCAD Savannah that led to the goal.
That shot was knocked down. It goes back out the sideline, but Bees maintain possession. Brought back in now by the freshman DeMott. She'll go back behind the goal for Theory. Theory trying to find her way to the front, being thwarted back though by Casey Moore. Move back now for Jordan Mitchell. The 8th leading scorer in the NAIA makes her way on through with a shot, and she scores! A quick sidearm shot by Mitchell, and the Bees find themselves up by a score of 2-0.
Well, no one told Jordan Mitchell it was going to feel like an early spring day, never mind the middle of May. Braving the elements with the short sleeves or the no sleeves. Takes her time working around Natalie Wechter and found the lane that she wanted and bounced it by St. Louis, maybe relying on a little bit of traffic in front to block St. Louis's view.
And just a good start here. Timeout taken here by the Ravens. A really good start here for the Bees, the #1 team looking to make it 3 straight National Invitational Tournament crowns. But definitely a good start for them here against the Ravens. Taryn St. Louis making some big saves. However, she can't stop them all. Jordan Mitchell, .110 on the season, getting the goal, putting the Bees up by a score of 2-0. You're watching Women's Lacrosse here on the NAIA Network. Back here at Aquinas College, Bees and the Ravens, Women's Lacrosse National Invitational Tournament Championship game. Bees looking good here early. And Chris, despite the big saves here by St. Louis, just a couple opportunities, maybe one too many opportunities for the Bees. They were able to take advantage here.
Well, one thing that I thought was really interesting going into that timeout was the reception that Benedictine goalkeeper Taryn St. Louis got from her coaching staff. They were celebrating. There were lots of pats on the back and clearly a lot of encouragement for St. Louis, who they feel has done an excellent job limiting a lot of SCAD Savannah's scoring opportunities here through the first half. Now Benedictine's offense needs to flip the table, hold on to the ball for a little bit, and get some rebounds off missed shots and cut off those transition alleys for SCAD Savannah coming back the other way on offense.
Yeah, the Ravens like to collapse on the goal looking for those rebound opportunities. However, Maggie Lortz, whenever she's kicked out a rebound, it's been Olivia Stahl or Devra right on top of it for the Bees, showing how good they have been defensively this year. But the Bees will go right to work after winning the draw control. It's brought in now by Wechter. She gets a little bit of a nudge by DeCaro, tries to drive the front, kind of stumbles on the turf there, but she keeps on moving around the crease, gets a little bit of a bump now by Rowell, drops it for Aiden McInerney. Looking in front, flips off with Mary McInerney. Aiden drops his shoulder, finds a lane, wants to shoot, is fouled on her way by. I think, let's see, it'll be Sydney Canego, or they're going to call Rowell the one at fault in the foul. So third opportunity for Aiden McInerney in the free possession. 16:50 to go here in this first half. Bees up by a score of 2-0. Aiden McInerney driving the goal, shoots, and it just skips over top of the goal. That one was able to beat Lortz, however, did not come down in time for Aiden. Close call there for the Ravens, however, 0 for 4 with 3 possession shots. Pass in front from Muhlenbach, wanted to turn and shoot, couldn't handle the pass though. However, the loose ball is picked up by Wechter for Aiden McInerney. Trying to dive through two Bees defenders, however, decides to take the safe play for Natalie Wechter in front for Emily Rulin. She didn't have a good lane, so she'll drop it back off for Aiden McInerney. Trying to find Natalie Wechter in front. McInerney trying to drive her way through and is fouled on the play on her way by. So another opportunity for Aiden McInerney, Her fourth opportunity, 0 for 3 she is. She goes in and wants to shoot. She does with a quick shot, but it misses the goal to the right. But right behind the goal is Casey Moore, and she'll keep it alive for Benedictine. Moore gets bumped off there by Stahl, drops the ball, scoops it back up. Stahl, though, right on top of her. Nice little dodge there by Moore to get to the outside. diving her way on in. Gets shouldered off by Mitchell. Shoots. A good save by Lortz, but a foul drawn by Moore on the drive towards the goal.
And right before Moore made her slash, Natalie Wechter cut in and took a couple of defenders with her and created enough confusion there to ultimately draw the foul. But
I guess there's an offensive foul against the Ravens, so
simultaneous, they said.
Yes, that's what I heard. So it must have been a charge against Moore. And there is a collision between Mary McInerney and Jordan Mitchell. The draw that will go in favor of the foul of the draws against the Bees. However, Mitchell's pass goes over the head of Devereaux. It's picked up by Wechter. Ravens have numbers here coming back. Forward drive. Can Wechter turn something here on the transition? Tries to adjust the eye goggles there as Willett comes together with her. But she drops it off for Aiden McInerney. She's in, but a foul's called. McInerney wanted the shot, but it'll be another free possession. And Chris, 0 for 4 is Aiden McInerney. Do you think she goes for the shot this time or tries to look for something else?
Well, they haven't certainly brought anyone in to help her on these free position opportunities for now. But she's been getting good looks. I think she takes the shot.
She does try to drive her way through, and she scores! Aiden McInerney drives her way in, ducks the shoulder, gets around Lortz, and the Ravens have cut the Bees lead in half, now 2-1.
And it's kind of like practice makes perfect, Tyler, in a lot of ways. The more repetitions you get doing something, the better you're going to get. And Benedictine has been able to string together more consistent offensive possessions and just a more steady offensive presence here in the middle stage of this first half. And McInerney has gotten a lot of opportunities on those free position scoring chances, and she finally made that one count. That just put too much pressure on SCAD Savannah's defense to ultimately hold up.
14:50 the time of the goal by McInerney, her 6th goal of the tournament, and a big one here to get the Ravens on the board. However, draw control goes to the Bees as their offense will go back to work. Casey Moore trying to take a swipe at Mitchell, misses. Now quickly pass the middle for Theory, but she's thrown it off. Good legal box out there by England. She'll move it behind the goal for DeGallo. DeGallo looking in front. Chasing her around is Aaron Robber. Robber doing a good job of keeping her to the outside, so it gets moved back by DeCaro. DeCaro, the freshman midfielder, trying to find her way on through, gets met by Muhlenbach. Quick pass in the middle for Theory. Theory wants to shoot, however, is fouled by England. So it'll be Theory once again. She is 0 for 2 with her free possession shots. Little off center for her, but she'll make her way on. Shoots, and she scores! 3rd time's a charm for Theory. The free possession goal, 2nd of the game for the Bees. They lead now once again by a 2-goal margin.
I think that's another testament to how good SCAD Savannah is and why they've been on this platform for 3 straight years now. They're able to answer quick. This was really the first good look that SCAD Savannah had, or first good scoring chance that SCAD Savannah had since that timeout that Amanda McGee called for Benedictine several minutes ago now. And there was no residual rust for SCAD Savannah's offense as the sophomore Allison Theory out of Kent Island High School in Stevensville, Maryland, gives SCAD Savannah a 2-goal lead.
That goal, time of the goal, 15:30. That's only her 2nd of the tournament as Allison Theory. However, she's been able to find goals at times that are big for the Bees. Draw control this time goes to Benedictine, and Rulin make sure she had it complete in her stick so she could complete the little short pass to Mary McInerney. As now the Ravens kind of slow things down, now try to set up their offense here. As their lone goal has come by way of free possession. As Aiden McInerney tried to fake the pass, but kind of fell out of her stick, but she growls it. Mitchell swings and misses. McInerney trying to drive her way through, gets met by Canego. No foul call as Canego gets the ball knocked out of her stick. Ravens want to call, but they will not get it. However, turnover by Jordan Mitchell. Throws it up for Canego, and now quickly coming the other way are the Bees. DeGallo has trouble with the pass, but finds Theory. Streaking her way on through. Dumps it off. Side of the goal is DeMott, and she scores! Turnover at one end, quick transition to the other, and DeMott finished off a great breakout passing play by the Bees, and they lead now by a score of 4-1.
That was just a brilliant play by Allison Theory. She charged down the middle knowing that she had a 3-on-2 for SCAD Savannah and got close enough to goal to bait one of the defenders for Benedictine guarding Mackenzie DeMott, the attacker. And as soon as Benedictine's defender broke towards Theory, she passed it off, and it was a perfect pass, and DeMott did the rest.
Goal at the 16:22 mark of the first half. Biggest lead of the evening for the Bees. Mackenzie DeMott with the goal, her 5th of the tournament. Said the assist coming from Theory. That is only her 3rd assist. They're going to call a loose ball foul against the Bees, so possession after the draw will go to Benedictine once again. And Chris, kind of similar to the game in the men's tournament, in the men's championship, Benedictine's have to take advantage here. Natalie tries to get through, but Wechter gets the ball knocked out of her stick. And just as I was about to say, they need to take advantage, Chris. Now the Bees come back the other way.
Well, SCAD Savannah is playing excellent team lacrosse right now. They're fast, and they're great passers.
Ball goes knocked out of the stick of Theory, and now it's scooped on up by Benedictine as Mary McInerney trying to find her way across midfield, jumps it off for Muhlenbach. She's met by Stahl right on top of the AQ logo. DeMott takes a swing and gets contact with the stick, but couldn't knock it out. So now it's dropped off here, as here's Megan Ostrander bringing it, trying to get it deep into SCAD territory. Kanigo shoulder to shoulder with her in front of the SCAD bench, moves it for Aiden McInerney, trying to draw a foul, and she's able to, as getting a stick up high there is Sydney Bowers, the freshman defender. So we'll reset here. We have 12.5 to go here in an opening half that sees the Bees lead by 3. Aiden McInerney wanted to pass, but a great play by Stahl, but picking the loose ball up. Johnny on the spot is Muhlenbach for Claire Ryan, sweeping her way through the front of the SCAD goal, but couldn't get a clean look at the shot, so she'll just take it herself and bring it back to her usual position behind the offensive goal. Looking in front, finally Wechter gets it, shoots, and she scores! Natalie Wechter diving her way on through, leaping up in the air, firing it by Lortz. And the Ravens are back within 2.
The athleticism there for Natalie Wechter, very impressive. This was just a beautiful goal for the freshman. And Claire Ryan is an excellent passer from that X position. We talked about that before the broadcast. And she put that in the perfect spot for Natalie Wechter. Can you tell that that has been a connection that has happened before for Benedictine? Great chemistry between those two.
Well, that's why Ryan has now 35 assists on the season. It's her 5th assist of the tournament. The goal by Wechter, her 11th of the tournament, coming at the 17:55 mark.
And that's really the first time we've called Claire Ryan's name on an offensive sequence for Benedictine, so that's a good sign for the Ravens if she can find a way to get involved.
And a draw control for the Ravens after Muhlenbach was able to find the loose ball. She drops it up for Aiden McInerney, and she has a little bit of room moving towards the goal. Rowell pushes her on back legally, so now the Ravens will slow things down. 11:40 to go. It's a 2-goal game now after Wechter with her 11th of the tournament. Mary McInerney on the side of the goal. A little bit of a push by Bauer. She goes behind the goal. She flips with Claire Ryan. Mary McInerney looking out in front, wants to shoot. She does, but she fires it wide. Looking for that short side shot, but couldn't get a good angle on it. So Claire Ryan will bring it back into play. She's met there by Olivia Stahl. Stahl has played all over the place for the SCAD defense, wherever she's really needed. She's played at the side of the goal against Top Gun yesterday, against Kaiser. Now today behind the goal, covering Claire Ryan. And you can see why with her playmaking abilities. Here's Aiden McInerney with it. 30 seconds on the shot clock here for the Ravens. Trying to dodge her way around Rowell, but Rowell doing a great job keeping her there. Bauer tries to cut her off as well. Rowell following up as Aiden's getting double teamed up top. Aiden McInerney is able to find her way through, though. Goes to her left, wants to pass it off to someone. Can't quite do so. As now Kanigo's around top of her, but Wechter kind of gets in the way and allows a little reprieve for the freshman. Dropped off now for Casey Moore. 7 seconds on the shot clock. Can she shoot? She does, and she scores! Casey Moore dodging her way through everything, including the kitchen sink, and pits it by Lortz, and it's a 1-goal game once again.
Got a foul committed against her, too. How about the take there by Casey Moore? She basically copied what Aiden McInerney had done earlier before McInerney passed it off, but this time Moore was able to get into the middle Benedictine had a carousel of cutters rolling through before Moore got the ball there, and then they cleared everybody out, and Moore was able to find the real estate she needed to not only split the two SCAD Savannah defenders, but then release a shot.
Just a great effort all around. 19:29 the time of the goal by the junior Moore, her 6th of the tournament, 49th goal of the season. Her and Wechter have been two of the big guns this season, along with Aiden McInerney and Mary McInerney. So like we said off the top, Chris, it's not going to just have to be Wechter. It's going to have to be more than her. And with goals from Aiden McInerney and Casey Moore. But look out here, Sydney Canego! And you can't leave her a lot of room, or she'll do just that with her speed. Canego with the goal. And Bees, just like that, go back up by 2.
Well, after a couple of early touches for Sydney Canego, she says, enough of this. My team needs a goal, and I'm here to provide it. I think this took about 5 seconds for her to win draw control and then get down the field and put SCAD Savannah up by 2 goals. And this is not the first time we've commented on this now, Tyler. Whenever Benedictine has made a move to potentially tie the game, SCAD Savannah has had a quick response.
A draw control given to Canego, and like I said, that speed really helped. So it's 5-3 now. Time of that goal, 19:40, just 11 seconds after. Canego with another draw control, quickly bringing it in for the Bees. She'll slow things down, though. Now the Bees elect to set up the offense. Mitchell being covered now by Wechter. Wechter will follow, but Mitchell looking in front for Theory. Oh, and a bad hop for the Ravens. It's a fortunate bounce for the Bees. It sneaks its way past the defense and St. Louis. And the Ravens, off an unfortunate hop, found themselves now down by 3 after the goal award to Jordan Mitchell. And Chris, that's just a series of unfortunate events for Benedictine.
It sure is, and an unassisted goal for Jordan Mitchell. That look says it all right there for Jordan Mitchell. Can you believe that one went in? And what's ironic about it, and tragically so for Benedictine, is that SCAD Savannah has been running this play all game. They've been running that cutter. In that case, it was Allison Theory right in the middle trying to make a connection, and they haven't been able to sync up. That time they didn't either, but it still went in.
Just missing Theory, but then it looked like St. Louis and the defender as well for Benedictine just couldn't get the cleanest look on it. And that's why they were following Theory going across, thinking she was going to grab it, however, missing it and letting it go by into the Benedictine goal. So now it's 6-3. That goal coming at the 20:03 mark, just 23 seconds after the goal by Canego. Here's a chance here for Casey Moore looking for her second, but that just misses the far post.
That was a good look by Moore.
Just a good-looking shot, too. Unfortunately, just couldn't find that far side post. With it now is Anne-Marie Manella, who checks into the game. She gets the ball knocked out of her stick by Stahl, and it's picked up now by Mitchell, and back to become the Bees. It's dropped off, looking for DeCaro. Mitchell trying to backtrack, but it's taken away by Mary McInerney. Devereaux trying to cut Mary McInerney off. That's going to draw the flag of the official. So a free possession opportunity coming up here for McInerney and the Ravens. They definitely need one here to get back into this one. Now trailing by 3 after back-to-back goals by the Bees. Mary McInerney, 8 for 13 with free possession shots this season. At a bad angle, she'll shoot it. Oh, I don't know if that was Lortz or the goalpost, but it ricochets off into the corner. A close call for the Ravens. Bees still up by 3 with under 9 to go here in this opening half. Aiden McInerney, one of the goal scorers for the Ravens, looking to find someone in front. Had Wechter streaking through, but Devereaux was right on top of her. Back for Muhlenbach now. Molly Muhlenbach, the sophomore midfielder, overlaying her options. Being looked at by Jordan Mitchell, one of the best two-way players in the NAIA. She gives it for Manella. She wants to shoot, and I think Lortz got a piece of that one going behind the goal. And they'll say that it went off Claire Ryan last when she was trying to retrieve that rebound, so possession goes to the Bees. And ball is brought in for Maggie Lortz, so she'll slow things down now as the Bees look to break out of their own end. Chris, a really good look there by the Ravens. The problem was there, Ryan thought she could corral it, but she just couldn't. That's what gave possession back to the Bees. You kind of let that one, hopefully it goes by and over across the end line, because then that would give possession back to the Ravens.
It's tough to make a decision like that in the heat of the moment, and I think people alongside Benedictine's bench thought it still should have been Ravens' ball.
But a close one here. Now the Bees look to bring it back to Gallo. Wants to shoot, but she decides to go to the side of the goal for Malia. Wide open looking there. I think they're looking for backdoor for Canego. But however, DeMott tried to receive the pass, but that'll allow Ostrander to bring it across midfield for Benedictine. However, it's thwarted back by Bowers. Tosses it. Trying to get it is Mary McInerney. She gets fouled, but they'll give advantage as Mary McInerney comes on through. But Canego gets a stick in there. And will that be a yellow card? It looks like it will, as McInerney got a high stick. So it'll be a yellow card for 2 minutes for Canego.
Beast penalty on number 3, Sydney Canego. 2 minutes.
Well, we noted how Benedictine had been heavily penalized in the first 2 games of the Invitational Tournament. They've played a very clean first half so far, and now can they take advantage of the 2-minute slashing violation by Sydney Canego?
That's only her second of the year, and now Mary McInerney will bring it in. So a player up here are the Ravens. Look, take advantage. Oh, and a good shot by Muhlenbach, but a better save by Lortz. Clearing attempt, though, misses Malia. Trying to thwart it on through, trying to poke it on. Looked like that was Riley Etter, but she couldn't cross over in offsides. But it's picked up by Malia. And look out here, odd man rush despite being a man down. Jordan Mitchell leading the way, has Theory to her left. She'll give it across for DeMott, and she scores! Once again, you see it all the time. A big save on one end, offensive opportunity on the other, and the Bees convert, now up by a score of 7-3.
Bees goal by number 33, Mackenzie DeMott.
And
number 14,
again, SCAD Savannah so good in transition. It doesn't matter if there's a player down or not, and it doesn't matter if that player in the box is their most prolific scorer, Sydney Canego. They get the job done in the odd man rush, as you said, Tyler, and Benedictine is left scratching its head, wondering how they got beat back to the other side of the field so quickly like that.
That's the second assist of the game there for Mitchell. Her 9th of the tournament. Time of the goal, 23-15. Goal by DeMott, her 2nd of the game. 6th now of the tournament for the freshman attack, who, despite never really being a starter on this team, only started 4 games this year, including, or excuse me, 5 now, including today. Really have shown that she's kind of matured as the season's gone along, has become one of the more prolific scorers for this Beast team that has such a deep offense, Chris, and that's what we always talk about. The deeper offenses are always here in this moment, and that's why SCAD has won 2 straight national invitationals, looking for a 3rd.
And again, a pivotal moment as we get to the later stages of the first half right now. Benedictine needs to get the momentum back.
And there's a chance and a shot. Ooh, oh, and St. Louis almost handcuffing the little change up by Crouch, almost crossed the line, but the Benedictine netminder keeps it out. After the odd one by Mitchell earlier on the errant pass. You don't want to have 2 in one half. Aiden McInerney getting chased down by Stahl, trying to draw the foul. Rowell, though, keeps her out fairly, so Aiden McInerney will draw him back. Now pressure from the backside by Crouch, turns away. 6 minutes left here in the first half. Bees up by 4 here in the National Invitational Tournament Championship. Here's Moore driving her way through, shoots, gets fouled. The shot misses as Casey Moore is knocked down right in front of the SCAD net. And it'll be a free possession here for Moore.
Benedictine has won those one-on-one battles, and they've been able to draw a lot of fouls inside the arc, but they have not been very effective converting those fouls into points off positions like this.
Morrill comes in, shoots, and that one rings off the post. The posts have been ringing all afternoon, and a close call there. Clearing attempt, though, by Lortz has issues with Rowell. Trying to pick it up is Devereaux, just kind of knocking on Fort Theory in there, but Aiden McInerney comes in hard from behind, knocking down Theory. Aiden McInerney, no stranger to foul. She had a couple yellow cards yesterday.
Just really interesting. You see how this game is developing. SCAD Savannah had a goal on a missed pass that just trickled past Terrence St. Louis, and Benedictine has hit a few ringers off the post. you flip those either way, and it's a much different looking game.
Now here's Theory making her way through, and she scores. Allison Theory makes her way on through, and I think that St. Louis didn't get a good look at that, Chris, because it looked like a stick was in there from a Benedictine defender. We'll check it out on the replay.
And I mean, you blink, and SCAD Savannah has the ball in the box and then in the arc. They just move so fast, and these connections that you're seeing on the short passes inside were not there earlier in this half, and now SCAD Savannah is starting to hit those passes and getting those really close looks on Terrence St. Louis.
4 goals in just over 5 minutes for the Bees. It was a close game to start this one off, and the first half of this first half has now opened up, and it's been plays like these, little drops in there, and Theory was able to slip it by St. Louis. Bees have been coming on strong here and lead 8-3 here in the first half.
Insurance need.
When a lot of people think of the NAIA, they think, oh, the talent level is less. The talent level is not as great. That is just not true. You know, there's some great athletes out here that maybe didn't have the size or the athletic ability to play at D1 or D2, but the talent level out here is tremendous. If I could give anybody advice or pitch that to anybody, I'd say give the NAIA a chance. It's a great place to play.
What I've learned the most from golf is to have integrity in everything you say and do.
One of the biggest lessons of that sports impacts my daily life is discipline.
Be a champion of character, it just means to realize first that you're a part of something that's bigger than yourself.
Being a part of NAIA is something that I'm going to keep with me forever because it's not only made me a better athlete, but it's made me a better person.
The NAIA really just cares about their student athletes and just the experience in general at the school. And I think that's really important.
The NAIA stands for, has great core values. One that's most important to me is servant leadership. Being able to serve your community is a huge reason why I chose the NAIA.
I am a champion of character. I am a champion of character.
I am a champion of character.
I am a champion of character.
I am a champion of character.
Back here on the campus of Aquinas College, 8-3 lead for the SCAD Savannah Bees over the Benedictine Ravens here in the National Invitational Tournament Championship game. And Chris, we kind of talked about over the break where the Benedictine Ravens have created opportunities and have not converted. The Bees have been efficient in converting on their offensive chances.
And SCAD Savannah is loose and relaxed right now. We were looking on inside their huddle during that last timeout called by Benedictine. They're dancing to the music coming through the PA system right now. They feel good, up 5 goals late in the first.
4:40 to be exact left here in this first half. Aiden McInerney bringing in one of the goal scorers for the Ravens. She makes her way through, and another one off the post. That's got to be at least 4 for the Ravens here in this first half, coming oh so close, inches away, and had all these posts for the Ravens had gone in, we may be looking at a 1 or 2 goal game here, Chris.
Lortz was completely beaten by that shot by Aiden McInerney. It bounced inside, well inside the circle, and just hit off the left upright.
Here's Emma Devereaux dropping off for Jordan Mitchell. Mitchell throwing to the middle, looking for Canego, catches the pass despite of Wechter, and she fires one over top of the crossbar. Wechter's done a good job of covering Canego all game long up until this point, despite the 1 for Canego.
And that was on transition.
But yeah, and Wechter that time just kind of got caught up there as Canego was able to use her speed and kind of turn away from Wechter. Now there's a chance in front for Tagala, wants to shoot, but she's covered. Good job by England to keep her to the outside. Pass, though, looking for Theory, goes wired over her head. So a turnover gives possession back to the Ravens now.
That was great defense by Benedictine. That time there was a black jersey on every white shirt that tried to cross through in front of the net.
Can't allow this Bees team too many opportunities in front. St. Louis has made some big saves here early on, but you can't make them all, and having the help of the defense could help the Ravens here down the stretch if they want to get back into this one. 3:15 left here in the opening half. Mary McInerney with speed as the junior midfielder sets up for the Ravens, trying to get her way on through. Good play by Willett to knock the stick out of her hand. However, I think it was Rowell that's going to be drawn with foul. It's going to be Willett will get the foul despite Rowell making contact with Mary McInerney. So another opportunity here for the Ravens. Only one goal of their first 7 opportunities with free possession here early in this contest. Mary McInerney, another one. I think Lort's got a piece of that one this time.
I think so too.
They've been coming so close, and you can tell the Ravens know where to go with these shots just inside the post. However, either they've been hitting Lortz or hitting the iron, despite the 3 that they have had. Manella moves it for Wechter in the middle. Wechter finds a little bit of room, tries to get on through, dives through, shoots. Oh, and I think Lort's got another piece of that one. Thought there would have been a foul on the play. I thought I saw an arm go up, but otherwise, SCAD will try to break it out. Pass up for Willett from Rowell, has some issues with it. Manella trying to force the issue and get the turnover. However, Willett ducks her shoulder and gives it out for Devereaux. Devereaux chased from behind, missing the slash there was Claire Ryan, but the pass misses Crouch, picking up with speed for a second there was Robber, but however she's fouled on the play, so the Ravens will get possession back. Mary McInerney spinning away from Devereaux. 2:02 left here in the opening half of this National Invitational Tournament Championship game. Aiden McInerney gets hit hard there by Rowell. Driving right to the head was, or driving towards the head of the goal that was. Benedictine bench thought it was a stick to the head, but nonetheless, an opportunity here for Aiden McInerney once again. She does have a free possession goal, however, has missed on 4 separate occasions. She comes in, wants to shoot. She doesn't. Now she does at the last possible second, but not a good angle at all, and Lortz was there to make the easy stop. Chris, it almost looked like Aiden was trying to do that same kind of move where she ducked her shoulder down to try to go to the right, but Lortz read that one all the way.
Yes, and it looked like also that McInerney got through originally, but SCAD Savannah closed awfully quick.
Turnover there. Nice job by Aaron Robert to get the ball back for the Ravens, and here's Molly Muhlenbach across midfield with speed. Mitchell trying to keep her to the outside. Being chased down from behind by Olivia Stahl. Good job not to take a foul there, did Stahl, but Muhlenbach will be able to slow it down for Benedictine, which with 1:11 left here in the first half, Chris, you'd hope the Ravens, if they want to have any momentum heading to half number 2, they need a goal here.
It would be huge, really, for Benedictine to get a goal. You almost aren't paying attention to the score right now, but if you just get that last word in before halftime, you feel pretty good about that.
Manella with the shot, knocked down, trying to sweep it towards the goal, is following up his Rulin, but Lort's able to find the rebound. And now the Bees, with the fast transition they have, try to bring it back the other way, and Aiden McInerney with the foul. SCAD doesn't like it too much. However, if you're Aiden McInerney, you know how fast this Bees transition game is. So maybe taking the foul just to try to slow it up a little bit maybe helps more than it damages.
I agree.
There's a pass, and maybe it did help as that pass is picked off. Aaron Robber once again. She's looking for someone to pass to behind her. Decides has to go up with it, but that misses both Ruland and Aiden McInerney.
Her stick was hit from behind on that pass.
It almost looked like, though, that Robert was unsure of where to go with it, and that allowed the Beast to kind of collapse down on her. But now it's Ostrander getting the turnover. She brings it in, gets a little bit of a nudge by Willett, but she gets down on the right side, throws a long pass looking for Ryan, but that goes way over the head as time expires at the end of the first half. Close to start off. Both teams putting in goals early, but then the Bees take over, showing why they're the number 1 team in the country. And Chris, if you're Benedictine, a little bit better there, except for that middle part of that first half. Good start, strong finish. Half number 2, though, a lot to improve on.
Well, I mean, it wasn't even the middle part of the first half. It was like a 2-minute stretch where SCAD Savannah turned this game from 4-3 into 8-3. And for Benedictine, I think it's important to go into the huddle at halftime and say, look, you take those 2 minutes out of the equation, we are right there neck and neck with the number 1 team in the country. And I think that is what you build your message around if you're Amanda McGee.
So we'll see how it goes. As you can see, a couple of the nice goals by the Bees, including a fluky one as well by Mitchell. 8-3 the lead for SCAD Savannah here in the championship game. When we come back here on the NAIA Network, half number 2 between the Ravens and the Bees.
When a lot of people think of the NAIA, they think, oh, the talent level is less. The talent level is not as great. That is just not true. You know, there's some great athletes out here that maybe didn't have the size or the athletic ability to play at D1 or D2, but the talent level out here is tremendous. If I could give anybody advice or pitch that to anybody, I'd say give the NAIA a chance. It's a great place to play.
What I've learned the most from golf is to have integrity in everything you say and do.
One of the biggest lessons of that sports impacts my daily life is discipline.
Be a champion of character, it just means to realize first that you're a part of something that's bigger than yourself.
Being a part of NAIA is something that I'm going to keep with me forever because it's not only made me a better athlete, but it's made me a better person.
The NAIA really just cares about their student athletes and just the experience in general at the school, and I think that's really important.
The NAIA stands for, has great core values. One that's most important to me is servant leadership. Being able to serve your community is a huge reason why I chose the NAIA.
I am a champion of character. I am a champion of character.
I am a champion of character.
I am a champion of character.
I am a champion of character.
When a lot of people think of the NAIA, they think, oh, the talent level is less. The talent level is not as great. That is just not true. You know, there's some great athletes out here that maybe didn't have the size or the athletic ability to play at D1 or D2, but the talent level out here is tremendous. If I could give anybody advice or pitch that to anybody, I'd say give the NAIA a chance. It's a great place to play.
What I've learned the most from golf is to have integrity in everything you say and do.
One of the biggest lessons of that sports impacts my daily life is discipline.
Be a champion of character, it just means to realize first that you're a part of something that's bigger than yourself.
Being a part of NAIA is something that I'm going to keep with me forever because it's not only made me a better athlete, but it's made me a better person.
The NAIA really just cares about their student athletes and just the experience in general at the school, and I think that's really important.
The NAIA stands for, has great core values. One that's most important to me is servant leadership. Being able to serve your community is a huge reason why I chose the NAIA.
I am a champion of character. I am a champion of character.
I am a champion of character.
I am a champion of character.
I am a champion of character.
Welcome back here To the east side of Grand Rapids, Michigan, Aquinas College, SCAD Savannah Bees showing why they were the #1 team from day one here in the NAIA as they lead the Benedictine Ravens by a score of 8-3 here at the end of one half of play. And Chris, it's been, along with Chris Vosters, by the way, Chris, it's been really a tale of two stories. Benedictine comes out strong early, gets a lot of good chances, gets a couple goals, but then it's just like that, you said, that 5-minute span or so where the Bees were able to open things up here.
Definitely, and it just is why SCAD Savannah is where they are at in the lacrosse world right now. It's because they're able to make good chances, quality chances, very difficult for an opposing team, and Benedictine is good enough to score in spite of that. But SCAD is able to basically limit, if not completely eradicate, runs for another team. And so any goal or a couple of goals that Benedictine was able to get in sequence, SCAD Savannah was able to answer thanks to plays like this by Sidney Canego.
And it really all starts with Maggie Lortz, too, on the defensive end. The shots in that first half, Benedictine 23, SCAD Savannah 18. Saves, though, Maggie Lortz had 13 to Taryn St. Louis's 5, showing how important Maggie Lortz has been. And we've only seen her a little bit, but then again, she hasn't had a whole lot of work, though. But when she's tasked with some of the best offense in the country, she's able to stand up to the task.
And Benedictine has got the individual talent to get back in this game, no question about it. Between the McInernys, between Claire Ryan, Natalie Wechter, other players on this roster. But can they play good enough team lacrosse, which is what SCAD Savannah is doing, to really get several chances on the board and limit SCAD Savannah's opportunities in transition?
Well, we will see how this second half goes. We are underway. SCAD Savannah Bees with the first offensive possession here of the second half. Making her way on through is Jordan Mitchell for DeGallo. Wants to shoot. She does, but it gets deflected wide. Going behind the goal and out past the end line. So possession stays with the Bees. Just past coming to the 42nd mark here of the second half. Tyler alongside Chris Vosters. Pass out in front here, looking for DeMott. Shoots, and she scores! Number 33 gets goal number 3 of the game for the freshman. And the Bees jump out in front once again here in the second half. Score 9-3 now for the #1 Bees.
Well, we've talked about this a couple of times already now, Tyler, about different games as well. How important it is to get that first goal of a quarter or a half. And that, again, just says a lot about SCAD Savannah's composure and where they're at mentally. An 8-3 lead at halftime in a national championship game, that's not enough. They have to come out and set the tone right away in the second half, and that's exactly what they did with 48 seconds only into the second.
And then once again, DeMott getting that pass from Mitchell as she shows how good she has been playmaking this season, and particularly this tournament for the Bees. And Canego gets the draw control coming right down. Casey Moore on the back check deflects that pass away. However, it's picked up by DeMott, and the Bees will go back to work offensively. Of course, the Bees probably know how some games can change and have swings of momentum can really take place. Remember, Benedictine led 10-0 against Cumberland yesterday. Look out here, Tatum Crouch driving the side. Ball skips on, picked up by St. Louis. Ravens leading 10-0 in the second half, ensuing a running clock. However, Cumberland's able to make it close and the Ravens only ended up winning by a score of 14-10. So the Bees know that, especially in the sport of lacrosse, games can get pretty crazy where both teams can score pretty goals and pretty quick too.
And SCAD Savannah has had some pretty goals today, no question about it.
And now here trying to make her way is Harper Bart to the side of the goal for DeMott. Back looking for Bart, decides to give for Mitchell instead. Foul called against the Ravens. They will say Robert's the one at fault. So Mitchell with the free possession shot. She is 0 for 1. 1 for 5 were the Bees in that first half. Gets out through, tries to flip one over the side of the post. However, that one missed. At the side of the goal now, trying to pick it up was Theory, gets knocked over to the end line, scooped on up now by England. She tries to clear. Long pass, one hopper intended for Mary McInerney. Good pressure by Stahl. However, Stahl fouls McInerney on the play. So Mary McInerney for the Ravens will be able to scoop it up now. Just past the 2-minute mark here of the second half. Bees up now by a score of 9-3, their largest lead of the night. Pass across midfield for Casey Moore. She tries to get around Barth and is able to, and now she'll streak towards the SCAD goal. However, Olivia Stahl back checking like crazy, and now Rowell meets Moore at the side of the goal. Now Rowell's behind looking for Aiden McInerney. Shot saved by Lortz with the leg, and the rebound gets kicked all the way out towards center. Big save there by Lortz. However, DeGallo misses the ground ball. Wechter picks it up. Pass misses Ruland. Mary McInerney couldn't corral it. However, it was knocked right back towards Ruland. So now we settled down by Mary McInerney. And the Ravens will get set on the offensive once again. Casey Moore trying to spin past Rowell. Doesn't find a good lane. Emma Devereaux also in there to help out the effort. Casey Moore tries to get on through. Ball gets not clean out of her stick by Devereaux. She'll pick it up. Aiden McInerney trying to force her to the outside. However, foul call against McInerney. Got to be careful there with that 2-meter non-engagement warning given to the Ravens earlier in this game as Aiden McInerney was close. But the Bees are still able to break it out and into Benedictine territory. Here's Olivia Stahl. Pass across. They're picked off clean. As here's Megan Ostrander now, bringing it towards midfield. With speed, trying to get around Crouch. Crouch fouls are on the play. Good rush there by Ostrander, Chris. And once again, that's probably a foul taken by Crouch just to slow down the Ravens.
Well, I was thinking that it didn't look like Benedictine was really trying to get players into the attacking zone there the way SCAD Savannah does in transition anyway. It like Benedictine really had a chance to put a play together and make a run at Lortz in goal, and it just never materialized.
Bees are one of the few teams we'll see in women's lacrosse. There's a high stick by Mary McInerney, as that will most certainly draw a yellow card against Mary McInerney. I don't know if this is a stat that she wants, Liam, but she leads the team with yellow cards now with 6.
Well, she's an interesting player. 2 years ago, as a freshman, she was named the Conference Player of the Year. And now as a junior, she has taken on a different role, and still a very effective one, with other really good scorers around her. She certainly can score still, but she's also become a very good defender, or continue to become a really good defender anyways. And I think the penalties, sure, you can look at that in a negative way, but that also shows a lot about her style of play and what she brings to the table.
Well, yeah, you're just talking about it a little bit. As St. Louis and the Ravens able to get the turnover, so despite being down a player, they're going to try to break out. Ostrander has issues with it, but here now quickly comes DeMott, backdoor looking for Mitchell in front, fake shoots and scores! Mitchell set up DeMott a pair of times in this game. This time DeMott returns the favor. Mitchell's third of the game, makes it a 10-3 lead for the Bees.
Mitchell with a brilliant move to beat Taryn St. Louis one-on-one, and she saw what was going on once her teammates made a great forecheck move on the opposite side of the arc. She put herself right in position, and for SCAD Savannah, they make you pay for mistakes like that.
And just a quick little fake you saw there by Mitchell to change the angle of the shot. But what I was going to say there, Chris, before I was so rudely interrupted by the Mitchell goal, was Mary McInerney, like you said, how she's become a complete player. She's third on the team with caused turnovers with 24, so showing that the junior, like you said, can put up points on one end but can be defensive on the other. However, missing out there, she got the yellow card, so a goal by the Bees while up a player puts them up now by a 7-goal margin. Ball was knocked out by the Ravens. He'll be brought back in, or the sideline by a Canigo of the Bees. Time of the goal is the 4:30 mark. As the Bees extending their lead here, Sydney Canigo trying to do some more here. Gets met, though, by Wechter. And that'll be a foul against the freshman. It will not be a free possession, or will it be? I guess nope, she'll have to start on the outer arc. So not a free possession shot, just a more or less at a better angle. She'll decide to take a step to her left, and including actually take a step back all the way up to the point now, as we're 5 minutes in here to the second half. Bees looking to make it a three-peat here and definitely in good hands right now with a 10-3 lead. DeGallo ringing around behind the Ravens goal. Passes up high for Mitchell. Mitchell, the latest goal scorer for SCAD Savannah. Making her way to the outside, looking in front. She's covered well, though, by Rihanna England, the freshman. Pass out in front. This Crouch, off the post it goes.
Must be something about that goal, because in the first half, remember, Benedictine knocked a couple off that post, and the favor is returned to SCAD Savannah.
Well, even in the men's final, we saw a lot down on this end as well going off the iron. So maybe that net just maybe had a little bit of a magnet.
It's unforgiving today, that's for sure, no matter who's shooting on it.
Ball scrambling around. Nobody can pick it up. And now DeMott finds it, gets it across, trying to get it for Canego, but that pass misses. A little bit of a short pass. Ostrander trying to get it. Canego and Ostrander both taking a fall down. They'll call Ostrander on the foul, despite Ostrander being the one on the ground, but possession stays with the Bees. We are in the second half of the National Invitational Championship game. Benedictine here for the first time. SCAD Savannah showing how they know how to win games like this. Up by 7-goal margin. However, there's Mary McInerney with the turnover. However, is fouled while bringing it towards midfield by Jordan Mitchell. Mary McInerney drops it off for Casey Moore, and she'll bring it across midfield. Trying to weave her way by Mitchell, but Mitchell sticking with her, so Casey Moore will take a step back. Pass in front for Wechter, though Wechter can't corral it. Now she does. She shoots, and she scores. Wechter at first couldn't handle it, but grabs it, uses her size, reaches up like the Statue of Liberty, and brings it on down. Benedictine back on the board, first time here in the second half.
That was a goal that, needless to say, Benedictine absolutely had to have. Before then, I was just thinking that you couldn't have drawn up a better 6:45 stretch for SCAD Savannah to start the second half. They had really put a chokehold on Benedictine's offense. And finally, the Ravens get something going to break what was, I think, a 6-0 run for SCAD Savannah going all the way back into the first half.
Yeah, it was a really good stretch there by the Bees, controlling this game as they've done all season long, as they have rarely ever faltered or let alone falling behind in any games. But quickly back come the Ravens. The side of the goal is Claire Ryan, but she's stopped point blank by Lords. Loose ball at the side of the goal, falls on the back of the net. Do we have a foul? Yes, we do. It's called against Rowell of the Bees, so possession will stay with the Ravens. Trying to get back-to-back goals here is Benedictine, coming oh so close after a great backdoor pass to Claire Ryan, but Maggie Lortz with a good point-blank stop once again. Ryan looking back to the middle, trying to find an opening. She's up high, unusual for her spot. She usually takes place behind the goal. She gives it off for Wechter, though. Wechter gets a nudge by Crouch, fights her way through, and she scores! Hat-trick goal for Natalie Wechter. Just shrugging off the Bees like you would in a flower pot.
Natalie Wechter. Assist goes to number
Third goal of the game by Wechter. What a beauty there, Chris.
It sure was. And it's good to see Wechter taking some control of this game, something that has to happen for Benedictine to claw its way back.
And
Wechter's had an outstanding tournament and an outstanding freshman season. And again, using her size and her maneuverability to get that shot away.
Like you said, just that speed, and you can kind of see she kind of saw just a little bit of an opening, and she knows that if anything, she's going to draw a foul when she tries to drive her way in there like that. But that time she was able to get the shot away and beat Lortz. Back-to-back goals for Wechter and the Ravens.
She's won the last 2 draw controls as well. Talk about a complete player.
She's one of the best in the country. So now it's back to a 5-goal game. Still plenty of time left here for Benedictine. If they can keep up the pressure right now, we'll see how it goes. Here's Casey Moore trying to find her way on through, but she gets pushed on back. Now here's Tatum Crouch, knocking her down from behind. You can make contact with the sticks ever so slightly in women's cross as long as you have your arms fully extended beforehand. However, if you do make the cross-checking motion, that it does draw a foul. That time Tatum Crouch giving a little more oomph than the usual push-out. So the Ravens will stay on the offensive. Claire Ryan pass in front for Wechter, but she was at a good enough angle. She was well covered by Mitchell, so she'll go back behind the goal. Emma Devereaux meets her out there now, trying to get it through his Willett, but here's the pass for Ruland, a shot, good save by Lort, and the rebound picked up by the senior goaltender.
Read so well by SCAD Savannah's defense. There were white jerseys all over Ruland as she tried to get that shot away, when for a moment it looked like she was going to have a pretty good chance.
So now here's Canego being back-checked by Aiden McInerney, gives it the side of the goal to Gallo and scores! DeGallo is able to sneak one short side on a goal that St. Louis usually doesn't give up. Bees back at it now as they go back up by 6.
And SCAD Savannah is so good at making the extra pass. Today they've heard Benedictine doing that all evening, and this time Drew DeGallo almost took advantage of that and called her own number. And it looked like Benedictine wasn't expecting it. They were expecting her to pass back off, and instead she pulled the trigger and scored.
And that's just, once again, Chris, the transition game of the Bees working off. Once again, Lortz to save on one end. I mean, if we had $1 for every time here, we'd all be millionaires the way that for the Bees it's been this season. Lortz has made some real big saves, especially in this game as well. And unfortunately for the Ravens, St. Louis has not been able to stand up to the task like she had early on in this game. Look out here. Theory trying to make her way through, but is fouled. Free possession opportunity coming up here for the Bees. Theory is 0 for 2 with the free possession in that first half. She makes her way on. Great play there. I think Wechter got another stick on that one. D'Amato's able to catch on the fly, moves it back for Mitchell as SCAD Savannah takes opportunity. Flag up in the air. And they will say foul called against Rihanna England. So now it'll be Sydney Canego. A little off to the left, to the right of Terrence St. Louis. Takes a shot, fires one on, and there's a nice save by St. Louis. It's a big save that the Ravens need, particularly the confidence of their goaltender as well is going to need. And she'll a nice little clear up for Muhlenbach. Now for Mary McInerney. McInerney trying to get around Stahl the outside, but Stahl sticking with her. Good quick move by the defender as she's able to keep up with the rushing McInerney. Tatum Crouch on the pass attempt by McInerney, takes it out clean. Casey Moore fouls Crouch on the play. Chris, a really good back check there by Tatum Crouch.
Well, and one thing we've been praising SCAD Savannah for is its transition offense, but they haven't gotten beat in transition on defense at all tonight either.
And getting knocked down was Mary McInerney trying to steal the ball back from Tatum Crouch. So, despite the Bees trying to get another transition opportunity, the Ravens take it right back, and here's Aiden McInerney now. She's getting chased down by Willett right down the middle. Aiden McInerney turning back to her right hand, trying to spin up. Willett right on top of her. Not allowing her any room at all. And in fact, knocks the ball out of the stick as Aiden McInerney tried to dodge to the outside. And there's a foul on Willett that time. A little bit too forceful of a check. So Aiden McInerney will have a little bit more room to bring it back into an offensive area here for the Ravens. Just past the 6:30 mark here in the second half. 11-5 lead for the SCAD Savannah Bees here in the championship game. Aiden McInerney driving the middle, dumps it off, looking for Wechter. Wechter spins, shoots. Oh, and a good save by Lortz. Rebound picked up by the goaltender once again. Chris Lortz didn't think she made the save all the way through, but however, just got enough of it to make the stop.
She's been great all game, Tyler, and a couple of times she's made saves on shots where it looks like she knows exactly where the Benedictine player is going to shoot the ball before it even comes out off the stick.
Especially Wechter, too, who already has 3 on the game for the Ravens. Look out here. Barth across for DeGallo. Shoots. Does it count? Yes, it does. DeGallo fouled on the play. Doesn't matter. She gets her 3rd of the game. And the Bees extend their lead now to a 7-goal margin.
Bees goal by number 4.
And once again,
DeGallo.
Benedictine scores a couple of goals in a row, and SCAD just snuffs out that rally before Benedictine can really believe that they're back in this game. So quick to respond, and they just play so loose and relaxed as well. It's a we've used the term efficient. There's just great chemistry between everyone on this roster. They truly play, wait for it, like a hive.
Yeah. Man, I've called 2 games for the SCAD Savannah Bees, haven't made a bee joke once, and here you come in, and that was perfect. That was wonderful.
Well, thanks for waiting for me to steal the thunder there.
Well, here comes the thunder some more. DeGallo, oh, and another bad bounce gets its way on in.
That one may have been kicked in.
I'm not quite. Yeah, it's a close one there. They're awarding the goal by checking the stick. We'll see. Are they going to say that's a good goal? It looks like they're nodding yes.
That was definitely kicked in.
That was DeGallo, or was it kicked in by?
It was kicked in by Riley Etter.
Oh, that's what it was. Just a bad hop. 26 kicked it in, so it looked like that'll be a goal by Canego, who had the pass. So that'll be the second of the game for Canego. We'll see if they correct the scoring on that one, because like I said, that was Etter that kicked it in. Because it initially looked like it may have been DeGallo kicking it in, but unfortunately for St. Louis and the Ravens, it was their own defender knocking it in, and now DeGallo gets knocked down on the play. But the score is 13-5 in favor of the number 1 SCAD Savannah Bees, and now a free possession coming up here for DeGallo, who has 3 on the night already. Right down Broadway she comes, she shoots, and St. Louis is able to kick it out. Rebound at the side of the goal. Goes back behind the Benedictine net, but it's picked up by DeGallo quickly for DeMott. 18:08 left here in regulation time. Tatum Crouch, side of the net, flag up in the air, and Englund gives a little bit of a shot to DeMott, picks her on up and says, I apologize. Well, we can only assume so. But nonetheless, an opportunity here for DeMott in the free possession. DeMott 2 for 7 with free possession shots this season. Off to the right of St. Louis, just over 18 to go here in this game. She makes her way through, and she scores again. DeMott makes it 4. The Benedictine bench believes that DeMott jumped early. Refs say otherwise, and Bees go up by 9.
And suddenly here we are on the verge of a running clock if SCAD Savannah scores one more unanswered goal. And it was pretty close, Tyler. I think Benedictine had an argument there that she did jump the gun, but
because the refs have been really good at calling that in this tournament. We've seen it a couple times, like in the last, especially yesterday during the semifinals. There was a couple of jumps in the gun, but nonetheless, DeMott was able to take advantage. But in a game like this too, which at times has looked very close, it's been these stretches for the Bees. They've been able to score in bunches. That's how they've been able to win games throughout this season. And they, like I said, I almost can't say it enough. They're showing why they are the number 1 team, but how efficient they are, how consistent they are, and able to take advantage when the other team falls.
This happens so quickly.
Here's Casey Moore with the shot, and Maggie Lortz talking about why they're number 1. Well, the goaltending that they have is one of the reasons why, but to your point, Chris.
And then right away on that outlet pass, SCAD Savannah had 6 players to just 3 black shirts in neutral as Lortz flipped that one out of the defensive zone.
And DeMott was knocked down by Ostrander, which will get another free possession shot here for DeMott. So DeMott will get her second straight free possession opportunity following the goal. So I'm sure maybe if the coaching staff of the Ravens got to the officials, they'll make sure she doesn't jump this time. She is right down the middle once again. Whistle blows. That time she waits, and she still scores nonetheless. Back-to-back free possession goals by DeMott. Puts the Bees up by 10 and institutes the running clock now at the 10-goal margin.
17:07.
Feels like just a few minutes ago, Tyler, we were talking about how it was 10-5. Benedictine was coming off 2 straight goals and had a chance to continue to creep back in this game, and you snap your fingers, and SCAD Savannah has gone on a 5-goal spree, and the clock isn't stopping.
Yeah, the last goal by Wechter, the one that made it a 5-goal game, came at the 7:18 mark. So in the last 10 minutes, or excuse me, last 6 minutes or so, it has been all SCAD Savannah. And they continue to press on here as Conego gets another draw control. Quickly on up for Mitchell. And now the Bees quickly bring it back in, deep into Benedictine territory. Tatum Crouch gets pressured. Ball knocked out of her stick by England. Having issues picking it back up is Crouch, and now it's picked up and brought back by England for Mary McInerney. Quickly tossed for Aiden McInerney. McInerney trying to find her way around Stahl, but Stahl quick to the punch, gets right on top of the freshman midfielder. Aiden McInerney trying to fight her way through, but draws the foul, and we'll get a free possession shot here. Are they going to give a yellow card for this, or does the refs come together and throw their arms out like they're supposed to stop the clock? But since it is a running clock, it will not. But Aiden McInerney has the opportunity to change that here with a free possession. 1 for 8 is Aiden McInerney, but she is at a very favorable angle. She's straight on center with Maggie Lortz. 15.5 to go here in the second half. Whistle blows. Here's Aiden McInerney. Find her way through. Wants to shoot, but she gets turned back. Doesn't shoot. Gets knocked down hard by Mitchell. That could be a yellow card. Aiden comes down. Mary comes over to make sure she's okay. Aiden back up. A little mad on the play. Her teammates coming trying to calm her down. And now it'll be Olivia Stahl being given the yellow card.
Yellow card issued.
A check to the head.
Olivia Stahl, check to the head. Time of the infraction.
Aiden McInerney got up and wasn't too pleased with the foul, despite now her team being up a player. We'll get a free possession shot out of it. Clock does stop for the booking, so 15:15 to go at the moment. 15-5 the score in favor of the number 1 SCAD Savannah Bees here in the National Invitational Championship game. Aiden on the far right side of the arc, staring down Maggie Lortz once again. Aiden has struggled today. 1 for 9. Drops off to the middle, though, for Moore, and the pass works to perfection. Casey Moore with the goal. And, Chris, that's kind of like the goal that we saw Mitchell give over to Conego in that first half.
Well, that was like clockwork, Tyler, and we've wondered why Benedictine has not drawn something like this up on what seems like they're innumerable free position plays. This was the first time that I recall seeing a set play like that with the person or the player taking the free position shot, passing it off instead of trying to start or instigate a one-on-one opportunity with the goalie, because those opportunities haven't really gone Benedictine's way, and that time on a pass, Casey Moore won her matchup with Lortz, the goaltender.
And I think sometimes what you'll see with a lot of teams, especially here in women's lacrosse, they'll take shots consistently on the free possession. As here's DeGallo in front, wants to shoot, decides not to. They'll like to shoot more often, and then as the other team thinks they're going to shoot all the time, that allows them the opportunity for that open pass, because that's what we saw with SCAD Savannah in that first half. B still on the attack here as we just passed the halfway mark of the first half. That shot by Conego goes wide. Casey Moore goes down. She got hit maybe right on the hand there, and doesn't look like that's going to draw anything. So here's Jenna Naybridge, who checks into the game for the first time. Gives it for DeGallo at the side of the goal. She'll wrap around the Benedictine net. Quickly toss back up top for Jordan Mitchell. Mitchell spinning around, trying to get away from Muhlenbach, but moves it over. As checking for the first time as well is Tess St. John. Pass in front, takes a shot, but it was knocked away. And now it's picked up by Natalie Wechter. With speed, she brings it across midfield. Has Mary McInerney to her right. Ruling to the left, but a lot of room down the middle for Wechter. Tries to make her run through. Rowell gets in front of her, but pass there for Ryan, and a save by Maggie Lortz. Point blank stop once again, and Chris, we've seen that before. Maggie Lortz getting right in the face of the shooter, able to make a tough save look relatively easy.
And it was a great feed from Wechter to Ryan, but Lortz, again, just knew where it was going. I wonder if practicing against her own offense has made her even better snuffing out those short passes inside and those transition looks for another team.
Well, like you said, yeah, if you practice against one of the best offenses in the country, you may or may not be one of the best goaltenders in the country as well. And Maggie Lortz is showing how complete this team is, not just offensively, not just defensively, but in net as well. Opportunity here for the Ravens, though, as they persist on. 13-15 left here in the second half. B still up by 9 here on the number 2 Ravens. Natalie Wechter, 3 goals on the game for Benedictine. Muhlenbach circles around, but now 3 players you can see covering the leading scorer, but tries to make a round to the outside. A shot and a good save by Lortz on the bad angle. Behind the net with it is Casey Moore, being pressured by Devereaux. Pass up top. Nice one for Muhlenbach. Shot, save. Flag was going to go up in the air, but no call nonetheless as Lortz makes another good save on a great pass by Casey Moore to Muhlenbach.
Those were 2 awesome chances for Benedictine where if you're drawing a play up in a huddle, that's exactly how you see it panning out, with the exception of the finish.
Tess St. John bringing it deep into territory. The senior midfielder dumps it off, looking to get it over. Having some issues with it, though, on the attempt was Riley Eddard trying to clear it out. Now picking up is Cameron Dolan, who checks in for the first time. Dolan at the side of the goal, back behind the net for Nabridge. Nabridge out in front, trying to get on through, but getting fouled was Canego as Ostrander was in there knocking her down. Another opportunity here for Canego with free possession. 12:09 to go here in the second half. Back-to-back goals on this free possession for the Bees, both by way of DeMott. Can Canego do the same? No! I thought it looked like that was going to be a little tricky one, but St. John's made the save, went over top of the goal. Pass that misses Dolan from behind by DeGallo will give possession back to Benedictine. And Chris, we talk about Lortz on one end, and we expected a great matchup between her and St. Louis. I just think at some points, maybe St. Louis maybe has some goals that she allowed that maybe she'd want back in this game.
Well, and there were some goals, frankly, that have gone in that just shouldn't have.
The pass by Mitchell and that little kick by Eddard,
Yes. So, like in any sport, sometimes there are always funny breaks. There's a goal, and sometimes the breaks just don't go your way.
Well, Natalie Wechter still having not the way she's wanted in terms of the scoreboard. However, her 4th of the game as she beats Lortz once again. Her 3rd of the half. Muhlenbach will get the assist on the goal, cutting the Bees' lead now to an 8-goal margin. As Wechter, despite the score, still battling, still fighting, and showing why she's the leading scorer on this Benedictine offense.
This was a hot shot that she put right in the middle of the net. And it's worth noting, Tyler, that right after that goal, Aiden McInerney has come back onto the field for Benedictine, and she's got her right shin just below her right knee taped up, and I'll be keeping my eyes on her mobility after that instance, that hard hit that she took, and ultimately came off the field briefly.
Maybe could have been a cut maybe on the leg, but like I said, we'll keep an eye on that one. Wechter, like we said, her 4th goal of the game. That goal was coming at the 18:36 mark of the second half, and the Ravens will try to go back to work as Casey Moore picks up the ball and brings it into SCAD Savannah territory. Just coming down to 11 minutes left here in the second half. Trying to dart away on through is Aiden McInerney. A little bit of a burst of speed there was thwarted off, so maybe it was just some minor repairs to the right leg of McInerney. With it now is Mary McInerney looking in front, trying to lob one in there from Muhlenbach. That misses. Side of the goal. Claire Ryan keeps it in play. However, sweeps it right on back, though, for Devereaux. And now the Bees will look to bring it out. However, an errant pass that misses DeCaro. But however, she'll follow up as it skips by a couple of Ravens. DeCaro's pass goes off the stick. Stahl trying to pick it up. Running over, trying to get it is Aaron Robber for Benedictine. Shoulder to shoulder, battling there are Stahl and Robber. Stahl picks it up for the Bees. Stahl is able to find her way out of trouble, but Mary McInerney turns it out of harm's way. And getting knocked down was Mary McInerney. A loose ball foul called against Olivia Stahl. And now the Ravens will try to bring it right back in an offensive attack. Muhlenbach on the far right side of the field for the Ravens as they get set up offensively. Under 10 to go. Gives it behind the goal as Here's Emily Rulin trying to find her way towards the front. Double teamed, dumps it off. Nice little flip there for Casey Moore. Nobody really driving the front of the goal for the Ravens. Could have been an opportunity. Now Casey Moore trying to bring it herself, but gets pushed down back behind the net. Flag up in the air. And 3-second violation called against the Bees, and it'll be a free possession here for Casey Moore of the Ravens. Can't be inside the arch for more than 3 seconds. Good catch there by the official. Casey Moore with the free possession shot now. Brings it on the left side, wants to shoot. She does, and a save by Maggie Lortz. I don't know if she got that with a stick or her mask, but nonetheless, good save. Lortz getting chased off in the corner by Claire Ryan. Lortz trying to clear it, goes over the head of Devereaux. Devereaux, though, getting held up, though. Good catch by the official as Muhlenbach had a little bit of a grab on the Bees defender. And a little bit aggressive Lortz did get there, Chris, making the save and then deciding to run around with it for a little bit. Or pardon me, that's Liv Vieira who checked into the game. I must have missed that one. Good catch. Thank you very much, Chris. So Liv Vieira's first save, a pretty good one. As Olivia Stahl gets fouled by Aiden McInerney. Under 9 to go here in the second half. Bees bring it back in here. Stahl almost untouched. Gives it for Canego, and she scores. Canego gets her second of the game and makes it a 9-goal game once again. And we have a timeout taken here by the Ravens after another goal, after a good rush by Olivia Stahl. As you can see, the speed of the defender showing how good she is creating offense as well as she is stopping the other team's offense. Bees lead by 9 here in the second half.
Bees goal by number 3, Sydney Canego. Give the assist.
Back here at Aquinas College, just outside Grand Rapids, Michigan. National Invitational Championship on the line. Bees, though, looking to make it 3 in a row, are in good setting right now, leading by a score of 16-7 with just 8:45 left here in regulation time. And Chris, the Ravens have shown a lot of promise at times in this game, but it's when the Bees, when they get that momentum going and get that train chugging along, they have been hard to stop right now.
We've talked a couple of times over the course of both championships today about the shot clock and how some teams have altered their style of play or at least modified their instruction around the implementation of a shot clock here in lacrosse. And suffice it to say, SCAD, Savannah, has done nothing to really change how they approach their offense. There's no shot clock utilization at all. They get the ball down into the attacking zone as fast as they possibly can, and they score just as quickly.
Here's Wechter in there, though, and she scores. We talk about the Bees making quick work. How about a quick play there by the Ravens as Wechter finished off another, her 5th of the game. If there's when we talk about the all-tournament team at the end of this game, Natalie Wechter will be at the top of the list for Benedictine.
No need to pencil her name in. She's set in stone. I think, Tyler, is a member of the all-tournament team. And to her credit, Benedictine has done a much better job working the ball to her in front from the X position. That time a great feed came in from Ruland. And Wechter has had a very good second half.
15th goal of the tournament for the freshman. That gives her now 77 on the season, which is top 20 in the NAIA. And of course, she's going up against Jordan Mitchell right now, who came in today with 108 points, which was top 10 in the NAIA. Of course, adding to that total as we speak.
She's really good in draw control as well.
And Wechter wins another. Muhlenbach has it now. Quickly on for Mary McInerney as the Benedictine offense goes to work. Battling until the end. Here are the Ravens. Of course, you make it to the National Invitational Tournament. You don't just do it on pure luck. You have some ability. Here's Ruland in front, and she scores.
Well, and remember, Tyler, this is on a new goalie for SCAD Savannah as Liv Vieira came in to spell Maggie Lortz. And I don't know, if you're Adrian Birkeland, how many more goals do you allow? It's still, of course, a 7-goal lead for SCAD Savannah, but you don't want to give Benedictine too much hope here. And this was just a little soft toss by Ruland, just playing where Vieira wasn't, and a great job of deceitfulness by Benedictine as they motioned Natalie Wechter, who's had an outstanding goal-scoring half, right before the feed came to Ruland, and SCAD Savannah was not expecting that.
Well, it looked like Willen Stahl got a stick in there, which may have changed the angle of the shot by Ruland. And like I said, all three goaltenders for the Bees have played in each game of this tournament. Liv Vieira usually be the one to finish out. Tracy Richards, the freshman, we've seen her a little bit, but look out, here's Mitchell in front. Foul call against the Ravens. But I believe the reason why the decision to put Vieira in, probably because she is the senior and this is the last game of the season. Maybe they thought they may be a little comfortable with the lead, but still a 7-goal margin. Mitchell here trying to get it back to 8 here with the free possession opportunity. She'll shoot, and a good save there by St. Louis, able to get the body down and block that into the corner. Hard battle behind the goal. Dolan having issues with it. Gets knocked over to the sideline. Trying to keep it in there is Riley Eder. However, she'll be unable to. She was chasing it over. However, it did go off the Bees last, so it'll be brought back in by the Benedictine defender. She tossed down the middle, knocked down by England. Lots of room, though, and she'll bring it towards midfield. Stahl tries to cut her off and is actually able to. England trying to find her way through. Ball gets knocked out of her stick, bumps off to Gallo, but it's picked up now by Dolan. And now back come the Bees with 7 minutes left here in the second half. Canego turns back, quick pass in front. Neighbridge shoots, and that one just goes wide.
That was a heck of a pass by Canego. Sort of a fadeaway. And it was right on the stick, too. Just good defense on the shot attempt by Benedictine.
It was like a perfect spot for Neighbridge to get a little bit more momentum on it. Maybe just didn't quite get the follow through she wanted. But SCAD Savannah stays on the attack now. Jordan Mitchell on the outside. Muhlenbach trying to keep her out there. Pardon me, that's Casey Moore out there guarding Mitchell. But Mitchell gives it for DeCaro. She'll flip. DeCaro trying to find her way on through. Dodges by Ostrander. Shoots, and she scores. Good drive by DeCaro. Beats St. Louis. Bees go back up by 8.
Unassisted. Time of the goal, 6:20.
And the freshman from El Dorado Hills, California, probably wondering how on earth she got herself into a situation where she's playing lacrosse outside in May in 44-degree weather, but showing the depth and the future for SCAD Savannah. We haven't called DeCaro's name a ton today, but a big goal here late in the second period just to make sure that Benedictine doesn't get too crazy of an idea to make a game out of this here late.
It's only her 15th goal of the season, second of the tournament. Plays sparingly minutes, kind of gives reprieve whenever players like DeGallo or Canego ever need a break. Draw control is won by the Bees. Now it's picked up by Dolan. She gets cornered. There's a high stick by Ryan, and that will most certainly draw a card, and Ryan doesn't even argue it. She walks right over to the sideline here. There'll be a check to the head for 2 minutes, so she'll take a knee on the sideline. 6:05 to go here in regulation.
Check to the head.
17-9 the score in favor of the number 1 team in the nation, the SCAD Savannah Bees. And if my knowledge serves me correct, next year's tournament, both men's and women's will be down in Savannah.
You got it.
And SCAD Savannah, if the team like it is now, they will probably be there hosting. And if they keep playing like they are right now next season, they may be the number 1 team once again. But as they go right now, it's Jordan Mitchell giving it across for Sydney Canego, getting around the ref, kind of playing a pick, and there's a little bit of a shove there by Ostrander, forcing Dolan back to the outside. Back up top for Mitchell, throws one down in front, trying to get his knee bridge, however, going off the side of her stick and landing right into the stick of the goaltender, St. Louis. However, that clearing attempt's knocked down. St. Louis picks it up and gets away from Dolan, tosses it over, knocked down though, and a little bit of room now corralling it is Aaron Robber. Quickly in the middle for Casey Moore, trying to get around Stahl. And Stahl, with her speed, able to keep up with the nation's best. And Casey Moore, though, able to fight her way on through. Gets bumped by Mitchell. Pass in front for Wechter. Gets it, shoots, and scores again. Man, despite the score, Natalie Wechter keeps moving along. Goal number 6 for the freshman.
Great job by Casey Moore shredding SCAD Savannah's defense. And Wechter had to reach behind her to haul that pass in from Moore. Very impressive hand-eye coordination right here by Wechter. Reach, pivot, great footwork too.
6 goals for the second game in a row for Wechter. I believe she had 5 in that first game against Marion, where it seemed like everything was going in for the Ravens on that day. But still a 7-goal margin, but nonetheless, if credit where credit is due, Chris, Benedictine not giving up, still chugging along, still creating offensive opportunities, never quitting. And that's, I think, in a game like this against a very good SCAD Savannah team, you don't want to fall and crumble, and still fighting to the end shows how good this program is, and especially in their first national tournament, invitational tournament championship game as well.
I think it starts up at the top with Amanda McGee, who has done an outstanding job turning Benedictine's program into a national powerhouse almost instantaneously. We talked about how SCAD Savannah has won 2 straight national titles. Well, Benedictine has been at the invitational tournament 3 out of a possible 4 years, and they've been to the semifinals in all 3 of their appearances at least. So there's certainly a great captain at the head of this ship for Benedictine, Amanda McGee, a former Division III goaltender herself.
Yeah, and obviously having talent, young talent especially. There's a pass that kind of skipped on through, but it's picked up there by Eder, and it's moved on over now for Robber. As she brings it up, trying to have issues with it, but now she'd be able to corral it. Don't forget, this is a much smaller lineup looking at the Ravens roster. Well, maybe 2/3 compared to what the Bees have. Here's Aiden McInerney making her way through, fighting off a check, and finishes the playoff herself. Despite the hacking and whacking on her way through. And it's a 6-goal game now.
Number 12, Aiden McInerney.
I think about something that you pointed out about Aiden McInerney very early in this game, Tyler, and she is so good at dipping her shoulder and really not losing much speed or agility-wise as she navigates her way through a crowd. And that time, she caught SCAD Savannah maybe a little flat-footed, maybe a little bit tired here as we're over 55 minutes into this game, and she piped it.
And don't forget, it's 3 games in 3 days for both these teams, so fatigue probably be setting for both. As you kind of saw both Rowell and Willett kind of after Aiden McInerney got her way through, thought there may have been the foul call, but Aiden finished off the play, and we're talking about the future of this program, not just being a freshman as Wechter, but Aiden McInerney being a freshman as well. You still have another year for Mary McInerney, so still a lot of good young talent on this team. But look out, you're talking some young talent here. Sydney Canego making her way through. DeGallo trying to get a stick in there. Foul called against the Ravens, so despite back-to-back goals by the Ravens, an opportunity here for DeGallo of the Bees. 4:04 left here in the second half. Bees up by a score of 17-11 over the Ravens. DeGallo shoots off the post. And getting knocked down is Eder, so another free possession as Dolan now gets knocked down. Cameron Dolan, the senior, has an opportunity here. Comes down the hill, shoots. And
started too soon.
She jumped too soon. You can maybe hear the Benedictine bench calling it out. So they'll just reset it. So Dolan will try it again. This time having to wait for the whistle. And this time she does wait. She shoots, and St. Louis gets the stick up to make the stop. However, the clearing attempt, though, misses Wechter. Can she get there first? Yes, she will. Being chased down by Devereaux. Nice little flip pass over for Claire Ryan. Ryan has some struggles with it, but picks it up as she kind of backtracks towards midfield. However, moves on over as Muhlenbach will bring it in deep. Pass in front here. Look out. Ruland open in front. And Maggie Lortz, who's back into the game, makes the save. Ball's knocked down, though, and the Ravens come right back in. So, Chris, I guess they must have heard you down in the SCAD bench, bringing back in Lortz with the game getting a little bit close after that last goal by Wechter.
And that's certainly not a coincidence.
But nonetheless, it's Muhlenbach with the goal. And go ahead, Chris, sorry.
Well, it's just one of those things, Tyler. Now you've sort of opened the can of worms, and admittedly, it might be too little too late for Benedictine, but now the Ravens have seen the back of the net on a regular basis, and it might not matter exactly who is in between the pipes right now. If you're SCAD Savannah, that was a big boost for Benedictine to just reinstill the confidence they can score against anybody, because they were struggling to get balls by Lortz in the first half especially.
But that time they were able to get it by Lortz. 3 goals in just over 2 minutes. And 3:06 left here. It may be too little too late. However, the Ravens gain some confidence here, and if they can make quick work, you never know. I mean, it's a 5-goal game, yes, with 3 minutes to go, but it only really takes 20 seconds to get down, get an opportunity to take a shot. Casey Moore falls down. The refs say that she fell on her own, and
you can see some red-clad fans just on the opposite side of the berm there howling that there wasn't a Benedictine favoring call made there.
And now a yellow card issued to Aiden McInerney for head contact as she knocked Canego on the far sideline. Of course, the Benedictine fans and bench not too pleased after they thought Lacey Moore was fouled on the far side. As now an explanation given to the sideline. I mean, there was obviously no question. It may have been incidental contact to the head, but a stick to the head nonetheless. But I'm sure the Benedictine bench is not disagreeing with that call, more or less the missed call before that. So 2:49 to go here in regulation time. SCAD Savannah on their way to the 3rd straight National Invitational crown. Quickly moved over for DeGallo. They are up 1 player as Aiden McInerney is taking a knee on the sideline. Second time this game. Jordan Mitchell with it now. Taking a step back, being stared down by Muhlenbach.
Now, it just doesn't make any sense for SCAD Savannah to shoot here.
But they're going to look to, and they end up getting an opportunity after a foul's called against the Ravens.
Again, a 90-second shot clock. You can kill a lot of time by just passing it around.
And that's been the thing for SCAD Savannah, despite the score, despite who they're playing. It's their goal to reach the 10-goal mark, and even so win, especially when they're up against Lawrence Tech in that quarterfinal where they won 22-10. The Bees, despite the score, were not letting up offensively as they continue to press on. DeGallo staring down St. Louis. She shoots, and a good save by St. Louis. Ball's picked up, though, by Tess St. John.
That's a rebound you had to have if you're Benedictine.
Pass in front, misses. Picked on up, though, by Wechter. Wechter gets a little bit of a check by DeCaro, but she makes her way across. Jordan Mitchell trying to calm her down. Wechter trying to get on through, but there's a moving pick on Mary McInerney that will give possession back. And Wechter, Chris, obviously you're trying to help out there if you're Mary, but however, Wechter I think she had a good bead there on Mitchell.
I agree. She didn't need the help. Certainly not illegally.
But now here come the Bees quickly back in. Canego has DeGallo. Fakes in, wants to shoot, gets turned back. Under 2 to go here in regulation. 5-goal lead here for the Bees. Pass in front. Canego scores.
That's just giving SCAD Savannah one too many chances. You play with fire, you're going to get burned.
As Canego, they gave the assist to Naybridge on that one. But another one for Canego, her third of the game. Time of the goal at the 28-19 mark.
And Canego with a great job beating Taryn St. Louis high and inside over St. Louis's left shoulder.
And of course, Canego had an incredible game yesterday. Not too much of a factor here today, but just been the roundabout scoring by the entire team by the Bees. Where on the flip side for the Ravens, it's been the majority of Natalie Wechter, who has 6 goals. But
and you still give Benedictine a lot of credit. They absolutely deserve to be in this game and kept SCAD Savannah on its toes. There was a moment, remember, where we had a running clock here in the second half, and Benedictine clawed its way back and has made this a very respectable game.
Muhlenbach dumps it off here for Mary McInerney. She tries to find her way through. She wants to shoot, turns her right, fires one. However, that goes a little wide and goes off the back fence over the end line.
It was the right idea, but just pulled the trigger a little too soon as she spun back towards the net.
Aiden McInerney with a hard shot for Stahl. Stahl down on the play. Aiden McInerney with a little bit of a hard shot there. Stahl slow to get up. But she looks like she'll be able to continue as the clock stopped here with 1:02. Aiden McInerney already with 2 yellow cards in the game with a fairly hard shot to the side. Ref making sure Stahl is able to continue, making sure she's okay. Obviously taking a hard dump on this very unforgiving turf. Never too comfortable at all there, Chris.
Well, it was raining earlier in the afternoon. It has stopped for the vast majority of this game, and it irrigates pretty well. It wasn't nearly as slick as we wondered it might be.
46 seconds left here in the National Invitational Championship game. Bees, similar to how Reinhardt did earlier today in the men's tournament, looking to cement themselves as a dynasty here in the National Alliance of Intercollegiate Athletics. Here's Dolan diving her way through on a lunging shot. Doesn't get it through, and now she's down on the play after taking a hard fall, but helped up there by Naybridge and Ostrander of the Ravens. St. Louis with it, 15 seconds to go. Brought out now is Casey Moore making her way towards midfield, 10 seconds left. And the SCAD Savannah Bees, back-to-back defending national tournament champs. Number 1 through day 1, long pass here. Claire shoots, Lortz makes one more save. And the Bees are three-peat. 3 consecutive National Invitational champs. Ladies and gentlemen, you are witness to a dynasty in NAIA women's lacrosse. An incredible win for the Bees. Final score 18-12. Congratulations to SCAD Savannah as they have won 3 straight championships. And Chris, deservedly so on how good this team has been, not just today, not just throughout this tournament, but all season long.
And they won this game by playing their brand of lacrosse. They made Benedictine adjust to their tempo, to their style of play, and they're going to run a lot of teams ragged with the speed that they have. They've done it all year long, and you just credit SCAD Savannah for clearly showing why they're a good team in between the lines, but also in between their own ears. It takes a lot of focus to stay on track and not lose your edge mentally when you've won not once but twice in a row. And for SCAD Savannah, it never became a burden, but just another motivating factor and unwavering in their resolve to bring home another title.
And obviously, like we said, they have just been so dominant. And they played, once again, a complete game. Maggie Lortz with big saves. Defense helping her out. Being able to quickly transition and create offense. And offensively, consistently getting the job done. Where the Ravens who were able to put up 12 goals. Natalie Wechter with 6 of them. Just Ravens were able to convert the same as the Bees were, and that's been the difference this entire tournament for SCAD Savannah, is that they have been able to put goals in all the time. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, it'll be the award ceremony here. Congratulations to the National Invitational Tournament champs, the SCAD Savannah Bees.
When a lot of people think of the NAIA, they think, oh, the talent level is less. The talent level is not as great. That is just not true. You know, there's some great athletes out here that maybe didn't have the size.
We're back here at Aquinas College. You see the handshake line going on. Ravens obviously frustrated after such an amazing season. Their lone loss here tonight, Chris, definitely a tough way to go, but credit where credit's due. They hung in there with a lot of points in this game against one of the best teams in the country, against the best team in the country.
Very true, and a massive step forward taken by Benedictine's program and head coach Amanda McGee with a lot to build around going into next season. They absolutely deserve to be here. They were a very worthy opponent for SCAD Savannah and showed championship caliber mettle the way that they kept themselves invested in this game emotionally, even though they were down by as many as 10 goals in the second half. They never once wilted or, I guess, bowed in the face of the pressure that SCAD Savannah was applying. They went out with a lot of pride and can absolutely hold their heads high after a performance like tonight.
I mean, yeah, you don't just win. You don't just lose one game in one season without having some merit. And like I said, winning their conference, very handily getting into the championship game here, and just doing a great job against a very dominant Beast team that has not allowed an opportunity. They're naming off the National Invitational Tournament team. From Reinhardt, they gave it to Morgan McGee. From Kaiser, Kylie Towner and Madeline Huber. University of the Cumberland's Bella Ricciazzi, who had a 13-point game in this quarterfinals. From the Cumberlands also be Trinity Brown.
Number 24, Trinity Brown.
And just a couple of really good players, teams that were not here. But then from Benedictine as well, we talked about Aiden McInerney quite a bit tonight. She's also named to the tournament team. Natalie Wechter, of course, is definitely the MVP of this team. 6 goals, 78 on the season, 16 in the tournament. Taryn St. Louis as well, Chris, she was really good. And really is the reason why this team is here at this point.
Yes, and again, took some lumps today against an outstanding SCAD Savannah offense and never dipped her head and really made some impressive saves in the second half to buy Benedictine enough time, or enough chances anyways, to make this a closer game down the stretch.
Sydney Canego, another one of the players on the national tournament team from SCAD Savannah. Olivia Stahl and Emma Devereaux, 2 defenders from the back end. They are also named to the National Invitational Tournament team. as they now are about to award the Women's Lacrosse Most Valuable Player of the Award. She was the best all season long in the tournament as well. Over 100 points. Jordan Mitchell, number 14 of the Bees. A big-time player, and most deservedly so, Chris.
I thought in a lot of ways, as she poses with the trophy or the plaque, set the tone for SCAD Savannah. Coming in as the two-time defending champs, she shows up in a 44-degree weather game wearing the same gear that she would if it were 74 degrees outside. And I just think that says a lot about the mentality that SCAD Savannah took into this game. They didn't take anything for granted, and they still played with a chip on their shoulder.
I mean, that's how a very good team is. They don't just, because they've won two, they don't let it get to their heads. They still keep battling and keep fighting and keep showing how and why they're the number one team with playing a full 60 minutes depending on how the game goes. As they award the trophy and the banner, a big win for the Bees. Like we said, another dynasty awarded here today. First, the Reinhardt Eagles winning the men's tournament, and now the SCAD Savannah Bees winning the women's lacrosse national invitational tournament for the third year in a row. It's been an incredible season of NAIA lacrosse. For our cameraman here, for Alex Bousquet for producing and directing this wonderful presentation all week long. For Chris Foster, I mean, you did an amazing job on the men's tournament and the women's quarterfinals as well.
Well, thank you, my man. It was a lot of fun. And I think for both Reinhardt and for SCAD Savannah, winning back-to-back-to-back championships, there's going to have to be another team that takes it from them. I mean, these teams are not going anywhere anytime soon atop the power structure of NAIA lacrosse.
And it's definitely an incredible year. Congratulations once again to the Bees. For Chris Foster, I'm Tyler Kuehl. Thank you for watching this Turbo Sports Group presentation of NAIA Women's Lacrosse. Wrapping up the NAIA Lacrosse season with a National Invitational Championship win for the SCAD Savannah Bees. One last time, thank you very much, folks, for watching the National Invitational Tournament of Men's and Women's Lacrosse here on the NAIA Network.